For quite some time now, agitation has been on among the indigenous people of Abuja that the Federal Capital Territory be accorded the status of a state. The implication of this is that they want to have an indigene of Federal Capital Territory as members of the Federal Executive Council as a minister. Distinguished Senator Philip Aduda has been in the forefront of this agitation. Does this represent the true feelings of the indigenous people of Abuja? This is the focus of this episode called Feedback.
I'm rising to raise constitutional point of order. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I can see in our order paper today that we're going to be screening ministerial nominees. And Mr. President, I am coming under Section 14, Sub 3, which has to do with federal character. I'm also coming under Section 147.3, appointment of ministers from each state of the Federation, and Section 299, treating the FCC as if it were one of the states of the Federation. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I've raised these points before. On the issue of appointment of ministers and appointment of ministers from the FCT, because it is expressly clear through the federal character that no state in the Federation, that all states in the Federation shall be carried along. And then the Section 147 sub 3 is talking about appointment of ministers from each state of the Federation, while Section 299 talks about the FCT being treated as a state. Mr. President, we have had to go to court to
Please, when you raise your point of order, allow me to, because you have gone into discussion now. First of all, I would have thought you would wait that item in the order paper, but since you have raised it, I will take it that is the way you are hurriedly looking for an opportunity to raise the point of order. So your point of order is noted, and those who are responsible for making the nominations should take note of the need to comply with those sections you have cited. Thank you very much.
National Assembly and the Speaker for the FCT Assembly. Mr. President, you know we had gone to court, and the various courts in this land had ruled that FCT should be treated as if it were a state in this matter, and that a minister should be appointed from the FCT. And not only that, not for the FCT, but from the FCT to represent at the Federal Executive Council, not to be minister for the Federal Capital Territory, but a minister.
So just let's.
The issue is that even our Ethics and Privileges Committee had met variously, and had also, there was a report from this Senate that FCT should be accorded that right. Mr. President, all I'm saying is that that FCT should be recognized and accorded that right, whereby a minister can be appointed from the FCT to represent the FCT at the Federal Executive Council. That is what we demand, and that is what we're looking for. And that is what the...
Okay, you see, the Senate that FCT should be treated like a state. And when nominations like this are done, then those who do the nomination should treat FCT as such. That has always been our position. But we are not in a position to nominate, unfortunately, because we can't nominate anyone.
Said, Mr. President of the National Assembly, I think at some point you should escalate this and help the people of the FCT.
Oh, surely we have done that, and I will do it again.
Created as Nigeria's capital on 3rd of February 1976, Abuja replaces the country's most populous city of Lagos as the capital on 12 December 1991, under the leadership of General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida.
That's what every one of us wants. not even based on law, based on equity and empathy. We are a people, and peaceful people at that. We have given our land and we are accommodating. We have no other place to call home. This is where we call home. Now, is it a crime for us to accommodate people? No. If the Constitution says that we will be given a status of a state, it means that we will enjoy what each state also enjoys. Every state has a seat at the Federal Executive Council. That's the highest place where decisions are taken. What's wrong with an indigene of FCT? Somebody who understands the plight of the people, somebody who would reason with the people and not with everyone. There's nothing wrong. We're not even talking about party, because our people belong to all the parties. So in regard of any party that wins the election, we still have indigenes who are very qualified. We have indigenes who are public servants, we have technocrats, we have people in the civil society. So what's wrong with our people? Now, the only thing that you do, I think it's only fair. And that's why I say, based on even equity, if you look at equity, it's only good that you give one of them. That way, they will be able to, they know that this is their home. They cannot run away from their home. The development they are doing, whatever way they are looking at it, will be holistic. It will be in a sustainable manner, in a manner that, is not just cosmetic. We are talking about people that have a large population and then land mass. Now, we have a lot of unemployment even among the indigenes. You don't have to jump at the table, be on the table for you to be recognized. We believe we are civil, but we should not be taken for granted. We appreciate the government and what they are doing, but there's nothing wrong with having an indigene. We're not saying just anybody, somebody who is qualified. Of course, the Constitution spells it out who can be the minister of FCT, a minister, that you must belong to a party that's being sponsored by a party, and you must be of a certain age, and you must have attained a certain qualification. But that means we are overqualified. So I only think it's fair. And that would be good. If that is done, I'm sure we would see more development, we will see more, impact. More impact will be made, and more cooperation.
Now, this population of original inhabitants who are the native of FCT have submitted many memoranda to National Assembly to correct and make FCT in tandem with the Aguda report that no Nigerian should be rendered stateless. So, all the memoranda that has been rendered to the National Assembly, original habitat development association position, and the clarity of what we are looking for is, we are saying that this cry has been answered since during the era of Shagari, when he was in power, when the political matter was concluded that Lagos should resume the commercial capital of Nigeria, while the FCT will be the political capital of Nigeria. And the land is so vast. So Shagari now carved out 2,000 hectares of land to make it the federal capital city. And then the larger part of the federal capital territory, he built the state apparatus in Gwagwalada, where as I talked to you, worked in that place, which was the state status that was there, so that we will have the paraphernalia of a state, having the 3 senators and the federal capital city. If Nigerians living here will want, they can have 1 senator, 1 or 2 House of Rep, and the head of state can equally appoint a minister to be in the federal capital city, while the federal capital territory will also, because it will have its own governor and its own assembly, and then produce their own minister too. That is how to balance Nigeria. And now that democracy has thrived almost 22, 23, going to 25 years now, if Nigerians are actually desiring to have proper franchise of the FCT original inhabitant people, there is nowhere democracy will be 100% complete. While the Constitution of Nigeria 299 is saying that FCT original inhabitant people are going to be treated as if it's a state.
Of course, it represents the heart and the yearnings of the people and natives of FCT. Over the time, today, FCT is 47 years old, and the struggle has been from one government to the other. The natives of FCT have been making this call that a status of state should be accorded to them, and they should also have a voice in the Federal Executive Council meeting. The distinguished Senator, Philip Tenimo Aduda, the lone senator of FCT, has been making much effort to see that this particular yearnings and calling of the indigenous people of FCT is highly respected by every government since inception. So many quotes in the Constitution has already spelled it out that the people of FCT have the virtual right of being accorded with the status of state and also be appointed as a minister to represent the good natives of FCT and its residents at the Federal Executive Council meeting. As such, I believe what distinguished Senator Philip Aduda is doing represent the people's mandate and choice. Today, we have 62 political wards in FCT, which these councillors that are representing the good people of their respective ward are somehow disfranchised of taking part in other tiers of government. If accorded the status of the state, the natives and residents of FCT as well will enjoy the state executive council statutorship, where some of our local government chairmen, after serving 2 tenures, will also have the opportunity and privilege to represent their constituency to the state assembly.
Already, Abuja being a seat of power, what difference will it make in the face of a state status?
You are an indigene. Anybody who stay here 10, 20 years is an indigene. But we, or the 9 languages, are native. What we are saying is that all Nigerians can become indigenous within their 37 or 36 states, but they have their native root, and this is our native root, so that we will have leverage of participating in Nigerian inclusiveness. You cannot be practicing democracy when the FCT, who hosts the political capital, are not part of the decision making. You made the National Assembly and the House of Rep to be the assembly of the FCT. The implication is that Nigerians are saying that the FCT is a virgin land, and the Nigerians are comfortable with it, and that everybody can come here and own the land. The land belongs to everybody, whereas the population and the villages are here before Nigeria was amalgamated in 1914.
Okay, Lagos was also a federal capital. But you know the difference it made when it became a state. When it as a state, being a state means that the people, the earlier settlers, let me even use that word, the earlier settlers, or the original, the indigenous people, they will be their plights will be more looked closely and understood. You know, you cannot shave somebody's head on his behalf. You have to be seated for them to shave your head. So, and you are talking about the FCT, yes. What do we need to have? We want a peaceful city. We want a city that, you know, we will be able to do our business. Why did we leave Lagos? Why did we come here? So do we want the people to start agitating. We're not even saying that they must be FCT minister, but I'm just saying that in quotes, let's even have a minister, but making it FCT will give it a sense of reasoning, because now that means you want a better way. It's a delegation, a delegated authority, and once someone is qualified, he can handle it. It's an administrative thing. There's nothing too difficult about it. And I think if it's considered, they will see the difference. We've had many ministers from many parts of the nation, but having a minister that is of the indigenous status will, I'm telling you, let them give it a try. They say a trial will make a difference. If you do that, you will see the impact, the development, the accommodation. Okay, now let me give you an instance. What are the disputes we have? Land, insecurity, and these are issues that the indigenous people understand better, right? Now, sometimes we feel that there is no empathy in the way that the people are being handled. You take somebody's land mass and then you give him a piece, right? And then that you have taken away his source of livelihood. Now you just give him a small square meter. And what you even give to him, what makes you think that the people cannot be integrated? What makes you think that the people, if they are given titles to their land, they will have value for it? You can set standards and say, okay, this is the kind of level of development I want. In every city in the world, you don't want shanties in the cities. But then, you have seen where people come with Ghana must go to Abuja, but they will end up living as big boys and rich people. People will see streets named after them, who came just as hustlers. So why don't you empower the people? What do? They get allocated a piece of paper that say they have a land. They can go to the bank and negotiate. That's empowerment. Just giving the person that title, that land title, saying that you are the owner of this land, you have increased this negotiating power. Yeah, but to be fair and to have a balance, if we are talking about indigenous person coming as a minister, we're not talking about it because of it only for the people, the indigenes. We're talking about in generality because we feel that they are qualified. Why do you allow people be state governors in their states? What is the difference? Why don't you allow strangers become state governors or in other states? So give it a try. Let's see what difference it will make. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't reduce anything. It doesn't reduce the delegation. It doesn't reduce the authority of the president because he's the governor general of the Federal Capital Territory. And so anybody he delegates power and authority to will only act on his state. And in that action, he has to consider many things. The administrative power, of the FCT, but then the people. You see, our greatest asset is not the structures or the infrastructure or those buildings. It's the human capital, the human resource. The people are the highest and the greatest resource. Ask anyone who understands economics or who understands, humanity. Human is the highest resource. So what do? You build the human resource. You protect it, right? So if you are just talking about, you want infrastructure and buildings, so what about the people? So you should be concerned about the people. And if you protect if you develop the satellite towns and the other areas holistically, you will have, the city will not be overstretched. First of all, recognize that there are people. That there are people who are entitled, who have no other place to call home. My grandfather's grave is here. My great-grandfather's grave is here. If I have to celebrate, I will celebrate here. So I have no other place to call home. This is the only home I have, right? Now, you are saying that, and we have children, and we say that our children should even be greater than us. So are you saying that your child should not aspire to be a governor or to be a minister or a mayor? Or are you limiting him because his ancestors were fair and said, okay, we believe in Nigeria and we are giving our land mass to the people for development? So you should allow them to have a first feeling, and it's a way of development. So they are now, first of all, so bring them to the table. when you bring them to the table, so when you can't see, many times you have said it that Senator Aduda has tried many times. It fails because the people don't feel the plight of the people. They don't have empathy. If you make Abuja a state, gives it a state status, it doesn't minus a state. It only increases. So why are people fighting it? What's wrong with having it? There's nothing wrong with it. Do you understand me? So they don't understand it. And the same way, if you make someone else a minister in FCT, he doesn't really understand the plight of the people. So what we are saying is that it's not enough, but let's even start with having a minister, which even the Constitution clearly stated that I understand that was a court case, which there was one. So it's not an ego thing, and we are not saying we are forcing it. We are just saying based on equity, based on fairness. You know, we have qualified people. We have people everywhere, tested, technocrats, you know, public servants, you know. So what do you want? You know, even entrepreneurs. So it depends on what you want. So when you have them there, you can start from there. Then from there, you can now maybe reason further and say, okay, let them even be in the FCT. But bring them on the table first. Let us be represented. So when they are talking about the people, let somebody who feels the pain say, oh, this is how my people think. Because now they are just assuming. Assumptions, and a lot has happened. Assumptions have led even to wars. So we are talking about reasoning with us. That's what we're talking about.
I want our brothers and sisters who are residents in FCT and our neighbors, that is the neighboring states that are neighboring with boundaries to FCT, should not look at the status that the FCT natives are yearning to be accorded, that it will render them useless in the capital, in the federal capital. No, all whatsoever opportunity and rights and privileges that they have been enjoying still stands. The mayoral seat and the mayoral council will still continue to see the affairs of the federal capital, and every other right that the residents have been enjoying will still be there. As such, we are also employing and calling for our brothers to join suit in the pursuit of the FCT native, so that the state status will be accorded to the natives of Federal Capital Territory. More also, other positions can be contested by the residents. This is not denying any resident any political advantage, nor any economic advantage as well. So we all employ us to join hands and support the good people of FCT for their peaceful coexistence for 47 years.